Black community has always been a huge part of the US history. First of all, it started with the European settlers who needed help because there was too much work to do. So they decided to bring African prisoners to America in 1619. Initially, African prisoners used to work in tobacco factories, but later white people started to use them to work in cotton fields, cornfields, and to work as domestics. The worst was that slaves worked in really bad conditions and poorly conditions day and night. They were not paid and they were tortured, no matter if they were adults or children. Some of them were even victims of sexual abuses. But the situation started to change in 1860 when Abraham Lincoln was elected as president. First, he removed slavery in the north of America, but the south of the United States was opposed to this decision. So this is the beginning of a political separation between two camps, the Confederates and the Union. The Confederates were the ones against equality between blacks and whites, and the Union was for. A civil war began in 1861. In 1863, Abraham Lincoln wrote the Emancipation Proclamation, freeing all the slaves in the southern states. The Union won the war in 1865, and Lincoln has been assassinated by an opponent the same year. After the end of the slavery, it was the period of Reconstruction. African Americans were considered as US citizens by the government. Black males obtained the right to vote, but it didn't change the fact that blacks were poor and they needed to work to earn money. So they continued to work as domestics, manual laborers. White people did everything to stop new blacks' emancipation, and this was the beginning of the Jim Crow laws. Jim Crow laws in 1877 is the name of a racial system that operated mainly in the southern states in order to discriminate African Americans. For example, waiting rooms, buses, prisons were separated for blacks and whites. This is also the period of the increase of violence. Paramilitary groups were created, such as the White League, the Red Shirts, but the most famous one is the Ku Klux Klan, founded in 1965. They used violence, fraud, and intimidation to show their three main ideas: the white supremacy, the white nationalism, and the anti-immigration. But thanks to many courageous men and women such as Martin Luther King, Ida B. Wells, Marcus Garvey, who fought against this discrimination, this disrespect, and this awful history, the situation evolved. Even nowadays, racism still exists and black people are still living in a kind of unequal world. That's why in America, on every February of the year, every students have to work on the Black history to celebrate the courage of Black people and to pay tribute to all the sacrifices they have done. That's what we called the Black History Month. So to celebrate the Black History Month, let's start with 6 effective songs about the Black Revolt in America. Strange Fruit is, I think, the most popular protest song at that time. At first, that was a poem wrote in 1937 by Abil Meeropol, a Jew teacher, but the poem was quickly popularized when Billie Holiday sang it in 1939. This African-American woman made of this song the symbol of the black struggle for equality. The metaphor of this strange fruit is in fact a reference to the black bodies hung on the trees. It was elected Song of the Century in 1999, unfortunately for Billy, who hated these awful lyrics. In 1960, We Shall Not Be Moved marked a real shock for the black community. A group of students went to a white cafeteria and asked to be served. White people started to lynch them, to spit on them, to insult them, but they never moved from their places. They resisted. Obviously, the group of students have been arrested, but this moment marked the start of the young resistance. That's what Mavis Temple wanted to tribute and to denounce by saying, "We shall not be moved." The meaning is in the title itself. Bob Dylan sang in 1962 his famous hymn, "Blowing in the Wind." I said hymn because it is really considered as. After that, Dylan became a sort of spiritual guide of the civil rights movement. It has been wrote in about 10 minutes and the music was inspired by a traditional melody sung by black slaves. A Change Is Gonna Come, released in 1964 by Sam Cooke, who was inspired by Bob Dylan and his famous song Blowing in the Wind. In his song, Cooke tells us a story that happened to his family and himself in Louisiana. They just rented a bedroom in a motel by phone, but when the owners saw they were colored people, he denied them the access. The whole family revolted, so the police violently arrested them, but Sam Cooke never interpreted his song. We heard A Change Is Gonna Come few days after the assassination of the singer. Mississippi Goddamn in 1965 is the answer of Nina Simon to the assassination of Medgar Evers in the Mississippi and to the killing of 4 black children in a church in Alabama. From the beginning to the end of the song Mississippi Goddamn, Nina showed her political opinion with Alabama got me so upset, Tennessee's made me lose my rest. She has finally protested for equality with You don't have to live next to me, just give me my equality. Nicknamed the South Brother #1, James Brown wrote in 1968 the song Say It Loud, I'm Black and Proud. By taking part of the Black Pride movement, he influenced many young African Americans to be proud of their identity. In his song, he enumerates all the past of the African Americans, the violences, the lynching, and the struggle. He's also denouncing the fact that in all the jobs he worked, it has always been for the other man, so the white one. So what he wants to say is, as a black person, you need to work for yourself. At the end of the song, he tries to tell us that it's better to die standing than living on the knees.